All right, comeback player of the year. We didn't get to that one yet. Let's do that in the National Football League, Sam. Quarterbacks. You're going to see some big name players that are near the top, and I would make the argument that you are wasting your money. Sure, I envision a world where Hutchinson comes back and he's great for the Lions. He has an awesome season. You could say the same thing about Christian McCaffrey. Those guys are second and third, respectively, top of the board for the comeback player of the year. I understand why. The voters have decided this is a quarterback award. It is hard for them to get away from that position. And a lot of times, maybe middle of the year, it looks like you're going to have somebody else win the award, and a quarterback comes through at the very end, even if it's Flacco. The last 7 times, the comeback player of the year has been a quarterback. Burrow, Flacco, Geno, Burrow, Alex Smith, Tannehill, Andrew Luck. I'm only looking at quarterbacks. How about you?
All right, so let's go down the board then. And stop me when we get to a price you're intrigued by. Dak, I'm going to give you consensus prices, basically. Dak, 3-1. Trevor Lawrence, 450. J.J. McCarthy, 850, 9-1.
Intriguing.
Daniel Jones, 20-25. Anthony Richardson, 20-25.
Mm-hmm.
Deshaun Watson, 35-40.
No. Colts, of what you said there, McCarthy, intriguing. Let's say Colts quarterback. We don't know exactly who it's going to be. We're thinking Daniel Jones right now. But if it's Anthony Richardson and he has a successful year, I've been down this road before. I'm not wasting any money on Anthony Richardson, but I'm throwing this scenario out there to you. Since the number is somewhat close between the two of them, that's worth consideration. If you're in on Indy, you should probably take a poke at a Colts quarterback for the comeback player of the year. Because if you think they're going to have a successful year, the quarterback's going to get some credit.
So it's interesting how this makes different people think, because I think you and I are going to approach this entirely different, and that's fine. We don't want to be saying the same thing. That would be a boring show. Who would listen to that if we just agreed with each other? Think about this. I just talked about Steichen at 30-1 for coach of the year because of the upside. If the upside is there for either quarterback, you have to guess between Richardson and Jones. Rather than do that, why wouldn't you just bet Steichen at a better price? Because Steichen's 30 and these guys are 20-25. Other people would say, oh, well, maybe we split the unit. Let's go half on Jones, half on Richardson. Or you could just put the full thing on Steichen. I think it's extremely possible that it's one of those quarterbacks, but rather than gambling on which one it is, I just take the coach. It's not the same bet, but it's a similar process.
Yeah, I understand where you're going there. There were some names, maybe you see them, where I considered them, and I'm like, wait, I didn't see a number there. What about Russell Wilson? Could that be considered a comeback story?
I don't see him listed.
Yeah, I didn't either. So, Are they sticking to the injury thing? And that's why
I don't know.
I don't know. Did he have an injury last year?
This is an award market, though, that is just so crazy to try and handicap, because it's not like it's a fair statistical comp, because you have all these different players from different teams and different positions. For offensive player of the year, you could look at total yards or total touchdown production. For defensive player of the year, it's who gets the most sacks most years. But this is a quarterback, a D end, and a running back, top 3 on the board. Prescott, Hutchinson, McCaffrey. And then there's the argument, well, are they coming back from an injury that's severe enough? Or were they just bad last year? And then you had the story last year that it was no longer about coming back from being bad, and that's why Darnold couldn't win it. I don't love this market. I don't think I've bet it in 4 years, to be honest with you. And unfortunately, I was not a part of the wave of people. I think it was Ken Barkley and them talking about Flacco at 100-1 comeback player of the year. And he got hot, got into the playoffs, and they won that bet. But I don't feel like this is a good market to bet preseason. I don't, and that's how I feel.
Flacco was 200-1 with 5 weeks left in the year, and he won the award. Wasn't even considered. So that's how much things can flip when it comes to this award. I don't think Bryce Young can be considered either, even though maybe he should be. If he has a terrific season, bounces back, third year, ends up being by far his best year. But I didn't see a number on him either. So, yeah, that's the difficulty. Here's a name we have not talked about, and it has a bigger and he has a bigger number than some of the other names that we've brought up. Should we be talking about Tua more with this?
Nah, I'm out on Tua.
No? You're out. Are you out on the Dolphins this year?
Yes, I'm out on them. Okay. So you're not going to sell me that bridge or sell me that pen. I understand it, but I'm not there.
Yep. Okay. The ones, like I mentioned, the ones I'd consider, take a look at McCarthy. Would I bet him now at plus 850? No. But if he has a slow start, that might be a guy that you want to jump in on, right? And he should have a slower start. It's first time around the league. So I'm not expecting him to take the league by storm. And then Colts quarterback, even though I'm not in on the Colts, whichever one ends up starting, they'll have an opportunity to win this award if it's a successful season. How about you? Which names are intriguing?
So again, I probably won't bet any of these, but I want to just ask you what you just asked me, just a question out loud. Chris Olave last year played 8 games, got his bell rung, never came back. We know what he's capable of. And by all accounts, Kellen Moore loves this kid, Shook, the quarterback. Chris Olave 60-1. Is that a dumb bet?
I just don't think a receiver is going to win it. I just don't.
Okay.
And then you've got other big name guys like Hutchinson and CMC. If one of them has a good year, they're going to take down Olave. Are you thinking the Saints, not that the Saints are live, but they can have a legit passing offense this year?
They had one with a quarterback who I think was a lot more average in Derek Carr. I was never a Derek Carr guy. A lot of people tried to sell me on Derek Carr for years. I never bought it. I think this kid could be just fine. He clearly played the college game a long time and learned a lot under a lot of really strong coordinators and coaches. Look at what Olave did first 2 years, 1,000 yards, 1,100 yards. The targets went up from 119 to 138. Now he's going to have to get into the end zone more. But what if he has a 1,300-yard season and 9 touchdowns and plays the whole season? He's going to be in the conversation. To your point, I don't know if he can be better than a comeback quarterback, but I just look at the number and see 60 and think that that's just way too high.
So I'm looking at, if we have the conversation about non-quarterbacks, I'm not going to bet on those guys at the very top. If I were to make a case for someone, looking down the board a little bit, yeah, I get why you would land on that guy, right? It's going to be hard for a defensive player. Like, I don't know, Jair Alexander, he's always injured in some way. But if you're going non-quarterback, I understand why you would bring up his name. What about Stephon Diggs in New England? Could that be a story in that market?
Yeah, sure. I don't like the potential for the passing game. I still think there are going to be a lot of run first looks. Vrabel's never been this guy who brings in a coordinator that spreads it around passing wise. So they've always been run the ball, play good defense. I don't know that that's going to suddenly change, at least at this point with Drake May. They got to fix that line. The pass pro was awful last year.